Okay, so I don't usually go over vocab, but I wanted to go over this just so you have a good basic understanding of these words and how they're related to each other. So we have work, power, joules, and watts. So let's talk about work. We know that every usually measurement in physics has its units, right? You know, force is usually newtons and so on and so forth. So work, when we talk about work, what's the unit of measurement for work? Okay, so it's not force because that's newtons, right? But we know work is force times distance, right? Force is related to distance, right? So in that case, our unit of measurement for work is actually a joule, okay? So when we talk about work and we're measuring out work, we're talking about joules, okay? And that letter is J. So we know that 1 joule, and we know that work is usually equal to force related to distance. So a joule is measured in Newton meters. So newtons per meter. That's generally how a joule is measured. Sometimes it's also measured in watts per second, but that's kind of unrelated. We'll probably cover that in semester 2. So remember, work, the unit of work is joules, and joules is newtons per meter, right? Newton meters, right? All right, so let's talk about power. So power is a little bit different, but we know that power is related. I'll just keep it here. Power is related to work, okay? So power, our unit of power is watts, okay? And we know watts is actually measured in joules per second. I'm kind of writing on the line, so it's a little scribbly. I'll move it up a little bit. So no, power is related to work because it's essentially work over that given period of time, right? So our unit of power is watts, and it's usually measured in joules per second, okay? And we know the formula is just work over time. So if no time passes, there's no power, right? And the same thing for this work. If there's no distance covered, well, there's no work done, right? So these are the two breakdowns of these words. I just wanted to do this because I think it's pretty important to kind of understand the rest. So work is measured in joules, and that's a J, and it's newtons per meter, right? And we know that because work is usually force times distance, right? Work. And power is work divided by time, as we can see here. And that's measured in watts, okay? So there's your definition. There's your breakdown. I thought this was important. Still do the stuff, writing a sentence and all that stuff, but just kind of soak this up.